Hello, my name is Stefan Baciu. I'm a writer, and I would like to share with you one of my favorite love stories in all of literature. It's between one of our foremost poets, George Bacovia, and his wife, Agatha Grigorescu-Bacovia. And what can I say? It's uh, it's a bit heartbreaking because Mr. George Bacovia led a very hard life because he suffered from depression. He was actually admitted as a lawyer and he was a member of the bar for 10 years, but he never practiced law because he suffered from depression, which was less understood back then in the early 20th century than it is understood today. And he struggled to keep jobs, to hold down a job. He struggled to hold down a job, and after he got married to his wife, who was 10 years younger than him, his wife supported him not only financially, but she also supported and believed in his work. She was also a poet herself and a Romanian literature teacher, and she saw his flaws. Like, she didn't idolize him or anything, but she loved him because he was a very tender individual. He was a man who loved his friends, who loved his family members, and although he couldn't do much for them, because for the most part of a day, or for most of his life, he could barely, like, struggled to get up. He actually, a journalist recounts how once he visited him, and there was a hole in the wall next to the couch, like a small indentation from Bakovia's head, because he was resting on that so much, for so many years. And yeah, but his wife believed in his work much more than I think Bacovia believed himself. I don't think he saw himself as much as of a poet, and that's an opinion that was shared by many critics of his time. A lot of people, a lot of writers and literary people just saw him as being needlessly morbid and pessimistic, and they saw his poetry as being limited. But this opinion has changed. He's a unique voice in world literature. He's a late symbolist poet who bridges the gap between symbolism and expressionism. And the beautiful thing about him is that, in his words, he writes as he's talking to a friend. And one of his volumes is actually called "With You," and the Romanian uses the second person plural, cu voi. So that means that this poetry I'm expressing when I'm with you, and I think that's a very beautiful sentiment. And he was a very tender person. He used to draw, when he was younger and more healthier. He played the piano. He loved music, and he loved the people in his life, as I said. And his wife loved his work and supported his work and believed in his destiny, because actually the title of the biography uh, of the memoir, it's called Poezie sau Destin. That means poetry or destiny. It's actually part of a trilogy. I don't have the other volumes because this book I actually borrowed from a neighbor of mine who's no longer with us. He was a literature professor. He's actually one of the first people to give me feedback on my poetry back when I was writing poetry in high school in my early 20s. And before I leave you guys, I'm gonna read some two of fragments from Bacovia as quoted by his wife in the memoir. And it says, this is from a poem called Epitaph, which is epitaph. It's pretty, sounds the same in both languages. And it goes like this in Romanian. Aici sunt eu, un solitar, ce râs mereu și-a plâns amar. Cu al meu aspect făcea să mor, căci tuturor păream suspect. And the translation would be something like, and mind you, I'm doing this freestyle. Here I am, a solitary who laughed sadly and cried always. With my visage, I made I made I made it die because to everybody I look suspect. Doesn't translate really well, but let me share with you another one. This is called the poem is titled Gaudamus, which is ironic because Gaudamus means in Latin "let us rejoice," and the sentiment is actually the opposite, and it goes like this: Zardarnic flaute cântă în aste zile păgâne. La vânt s-au dus aspirații, nimic nu rămâne. It goes like this: In vain do flutes sing in these pagan days. All hopes are scattered to the wind, nothing remains. And for early 20th century, this was pretty cutting edge stuff, especially in Romania, and I think in world poetry as well. But his wife believed in his work, she pushed his work, and his legacy lives on, even though Mr. Bacovia didn't live a happy life as we pictured it today, but with his love and tenderness, he made the most out of it, with the cards we are dealt. And I always say in my notes on Substack that we writers were conduits, and Georgia Bacovia was definitely a conduit, but and I'm quoting John Donne here, no man is an island, and definitely no poet or writer is an island, and we need our support groups. So if you have somebody who's supporting you either financially or with their time, if you, let's say, have a spouse or a partner who helps you make time for writing and for your creative endeavors, then definitely give them a thank you. And thank you very much for listening to me. Have a great day, or great whatever.